the agenda as presented. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion.
Motion from Ms. Gardner. Do we have a support?
I'll support.
Ms. Houle supports. Are there any additions, suggested deletions to the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion to approve the agenda, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. We have an agenda. The next item on the agenda is approval of the June 9th Water Board meeting minutes.
I'm gonna be sitting here.
They're in your packet. Trust you won't have a chance to at least glance at them. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
I'll make a motion.
Ms. Gardner, is there support? Mr. Wareham, I have a motion and support the minutes for our June 9th meeting. Are there any suggested deletions, corrections, or additions to the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion to approve the minutes as presented, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. You have financial reports in your packet. You have a profit and loss budget versus actual. Please note that income is lagging relative to getting caught up for the report. You have a balance sheet. You have a check detail. There is no deposit detail attached.
No deposits last month.
You were a little bit.
There was, I just didn't, I haven't entered them.
Okay,
They're
so
not in here.
we're not quite up to date. And that explains perhaps in part why the revenue side is so meager on this report.
Yes, I don't have those reports either. Those reports are not, I'll get it done in the next week.
Given status, are there any questions of either Traci or Christa relative to the reports? Mr. Janke?
I don't know when we can talk about this, but somehow we're charging ahead and doing some service lines out there. And at some point, we really need to know where we're at with money above and beyond what's budgeted in our account for this particular line item. Because it's gonna matter real quick. And I know Bob talked about maybe taking a loan, but we not allowed to do that. So, there's no way out if we spend a bunch of money we don't have that I know of easily. So, I think it's important for us to know what we got here. I don't know what to say.
Well, it's imperative then that the resources and budgets, if you will, be caught up
Yeah.
ideally well before our August 11th meeting.
And I could see us dumping 60+ grand over there. And,
Referring to the goosenecks on Elm.
yes, that's what I'm referring to. So, we're about to spend a boatload of money without knowing that we have it. And if we're gonna end up having to cover it out of general fund, or where we're gonna cover it from, because that's where the money would end up coming from if we can't get it out of the water. We don't know if we need to raise rates yet. It's a little worrisome here. So, I just throwing it on the table here to say I'm a little bit worried.
Redouble our efforts to make sure that we're caught up by the August 11th meeting, so we have accurate figures relative to revenue and expenditures, and then can look very seriously at the First Amendment. For the water
I
system
understand
budget.
with the road situation where this is what we gotta do, but. Okay.
Point well made. Any additional comments, concerns relative to the reports?
The only thing, the thing that I personally am running into is going through the files that Debbie Bradford sent. I have questions, and
I figured something like
I
that.
can't get,
There's no answers.
no, and they're
Can't get the
having a
answers.
hard time connecting me with somebody that can answer specifically what I'm looking at, so
I
that's
knew
where
it
we're
was gonna
at,
cause
we're
a
like
problem.
this.
I knew it was, and I understand what you're dealing with here. I figured as much, but,
Cause she figured out a bunch of stuff for us, but I ran into a thing where I was gonna do a trial, upload it and start putting stuff in, and there's this instant snag, and so far I can't find anybody to help, so. But taxes are up, so that's my next thing. That's my next thing.
Okay.
Different topic, but relevant.
Yes.
Point well made, Aaron, and I think we've got to redouble our
Yeah.
efforts to make sure that
No, I
we're
agree.
caught up by August. We're already into the second quarter of the fiscal year. We need to have as accurate a look at our revenues and expenditures as possible.
Mhm.
No question.
We need to plan this, we need to be able to plan this rate increase with some kind of something here.
Mhm.
Okay.
Anything else?
Oh, the other thing, should we talk about the recovery,
I think that's appropriate for the general meeting.
okay.
Yeah, versus this. 'Cause
Okay.
We're waiting on additional information
Yep.
there anyway. So, given the conversation, do I have a motion to accept the reports as presented?
I'll motion.
Ms. Hoole moves. Is there support for the motion to accept the reports as presented?
I'll support.
Of support. Any additional discussion on the motion to accept the reports as presented? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. We do understand the need to
Yeah.
expedite bringing our figures up to date. Item 6, payment of bills. Ms. Hoole?
Everything is there, of course, there's some big ones for water lines, if you look through. But other than that, everything is just the general monthly
So-
expenses.
So these water line, these ones from Julio here though, these aren't East Street stuff yet, this is something else, right?
There's something else, it was, another one.
'Cause I see some Webben stuff on here and I
Julio,
think Webben is doing East Street, is he not, or did he do something
Patrick's-
else as well?
My
Patrick's
understanding.
Plumbing,
Yeah, what's the Patrick's?
I can't think of the guy's name.
Got some big numbers there,
Yeah.
4 grand, 3 grand,
Mhm. Yeah.
another 3 grand.
Yeah.
Okay.
It amplifies the point made earlier about the need for up-to-date figures.
Do you wanna
on the
see the
records.
bill, do you want me to grab the
No,
bills? I didn't
no,
bring them in.
I just was wondering what, I mean, the Webben one, unless he was working on something else, I know he's working on East
He
Street
has
too.
done.
Yeah, so-
That's
done a lot of
interesting,
other
what Coffee does and what was he doing.
One of them wasn't for the garden, was it?
Something was for the, yeah, but that wouldn't have been
Oh,
up
wait,
here,
right,
that
right.
would have been in the
Yeah,
general.
Okay, this is all water system
Yeah.
related.
Thank you.
Any additional comments on the explanations to bills? They amplify the point made earlier. Do I have a motion to accept the bills that have been paid?
Yes, I'll make the motion.
Ms. Gardner, is there support
I'll
for the motion? Mr. Janke? A motion and support to accept the bills as paid. Further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Item 7 on our agenda is public comment. Anybody in the audience wishing to address the water board will be given up to 3 minutes. Please identify yourself, and you may begin talking now. Anybody interested in addressing the water board at this time? Hearing none, please know that there will be a second opportunity before we adjourn the meeting if you think of something that you would like to say, or an item that pops up during our discussion that you would like amplified or clarified at all. So, thank you, please note the time, School. Reports, water operators report. Mr. Matt Folk, the floor is yours.
We've been spending lots of money.
I can see that.
Yeah,
And and the reason being is, there's a big rush so we can blacktop Avenue over there from 6th to 5th Street. Weber's gonna start again tomorrow. And Donnie's gonna go work on the next one and go on the main side, and Webben does the cross streets. So, having a devil of a time getting parts. I'm still waiting on parts, and they can't even tell me when I'm gonna get those parts.
You're excused,
That's-
Bob, for a moment.
and,
Since I get the call you gotta
The
take.
only other, I did a back T test in the first part of the month, and I just did one today, the second one in Dollar Bay, so. That's all I got, really.
Okay, thank you. I believe the pumpage report is in your handout.
Yeah.
Mr. Janke?
I wanted to throw on the table too, that just real quick here, we don't really have a line item for the work we're doing over on East Street right now, so, just to throw, he said he spent, I did, kick a couple of PDFs for service utility cards.
We got them
We got
printed.
Printed.
Okay.
This got them printed. at the
Yeah, I
shop
just
now.
wanna take a look at them, and my main concern is how we're gonna file those things, I think. The idea is basically to use them almost like UP Engineers does, and make utility cards out of them for, you know, you wanna know where a water service or a water valve is, and Bob's not gonna be here forever. So, not all of those are poking above ground, I guess is what a lot of them are not. So it'd be nice to at least have a rough idea where those things are at. So the idea is there's a section to sketch some information, and then, some additional information on the service types and stuff like that. That would be handy, especially for our lead, copper stuff, you know. It would have obviously been nice to do this via grant for the GIS stuff, probably would have taken care of some of this stuff for us, but, now I'm thinking we may need to start looking at this a little bit ourselves, so. Especially if we're doing and fixing some services right now, I'd like to at least make sure we get some of that stuff recorded. So anyways, take a look at that, we gotta figure out the best way. I don't know, is those, each water user have a user ID number of some sort that we can file it that way
Yep.
somehow?
And there's actually a
I don't wanna use names, you know, that's not gonna work, they change all the time.
Yeah,
So-
there's a feature on BSNA too where we can scan them in.
Yeah, that'd be
Store 'em
great,
that way.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They can be attached.
so
Let's see if
somebody
we
can
have
fill them
some-
out, and this is another thing that maybe we could have, like, you know, Jaden could help Bob with, or something like that, you know, and go around and get some of this stuff done, or Bob can do it himself, or even whoever, you know.
We can come up with an action plan for our next meeting and implement it then.
Just more money to spend,
Thank you.
yeah.
About time you spent some.
And with that in mind, moving right along, anything else on Bob's reports? Bob, anything else you'd like to add before we move on? Aaron, anything else?
Yeah, it's like 100 degrees in here. No, I don't think I have anything else for the water stuff right off the top of my head. Oh,
Yes, you do.
yes, I do. I did wanna bring up that, did you look at the, you know, I was talking with Bob about the condition of the pump house building itself. Have you looked at that at all?
Yeah, that's on the agenda for the maintenance
Okay.
meeting next week,
Alright,
and that'll be brought up during the maintenance
okay,
report.
sounds good.
Got that identified and tagged along with other ideas. But I'll expand on that during the maintenance report. Any questions, comments? Okay, moving on, secretary's report, I do not believe there's one available at this time.
I don't think so.
What we can do is, when the report's done, we can forward it to the membership, so they'll have it for this month. That makes sense?
She didn't have anything really remarkable, just got the second billing, you know, the Tamarack City billing done and, getting ready to do red tags.
Okay, well, let's see if we can get that emailed or mailed out to the membership once it's completed.
Just one little note that, Christa and I talked about Mason, there's about 4 houses that are hooked up already.
Oh,
And we just decided to let those go for now, and then next month, we'll read Tamarack and Mason at the same time. Because their bills are gonna be
They're gonna be monthly bills.
monthly bills, yeah.
Okay.
So we have to do some shuffling around and database moving and get them added to the handheld and,
Make sure that's highlighted in the minutes if you will, please. Got 4 hookups apparently already in
Right
Mason.
now, yes.
And we're gonna be starting to read meters and bill in August. Thanks, Bob. Anything else under reports? If not, we'll move on to unfinished business. Joint water board meeting date, we've had to postpone the last 2 attempts. Coming out of the Tamarack City meeting was a suggestion that we hold a meeting in the late summer, early fall, if I recall correctly, looking at 2 members that ideally after the audit is done, assuming it would be done prior to the end of September, beginning of October, and then hold a joint meeting at that time.
she usually submits it end of September, and that's when we've started in May, so. I mean, she'll get it done on time, and I'm just saying it's definitely gonna run up to the last day of September.
We need good hard figures for last fiscal year that'll help us propel into this year relative to budgeting, et cetera, so. In your packet is some sample or draft agenda items. It's by no means a complete document, it's just bullet points shared with the Tamarack City Water Board with the expectation of people to look at it. Should be right at the end. Last page in your packet. Special joint meeting, proposed agenda items draft.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And they're just bullets. Please feel free to review it, edit, add, delete at all. So as we move towards the meeting, we come up with an inclusive agenda for the water boards to address. And it will be one prepared in essence by both water boards. That's all I have on that item. Anybody have any questions? New business, is there any new business to come before the board this evening?
Are we gonna make this a utility meeting instead of a water meeting?
Yeah.
Did we check into that?
The name change, I think, is up to us. It can be done unilaterally, we don't have to do anything special to change the advisory's title.
Okay.
If that's something you'd like to suggest in the form of a motion, you could then make that recommendation to the board, and the board could change the name. You wanna wait a month, or what's your pleasure?
We can make a month, that's fine, or whatever you wanna do, but then with that, I'd like to put add a report from our Mason sewer operator to this, to this.
Then might I suggest we make the changes in August, and then put Mr. Sierra on the agenda for the August meeting?
Agreed.
Fair enough. Formally expand the title
Mhm.
of the utility board. We'll move on that at our August meeting. The board endorsement expected immediately after this meeting, and then we'll ask Mr. Sierra to join us, as he often does, for water board meetings and prepare a report for us for the August meeting. And that will be held on the 11th. Thank you. Anything else, sir? Does anybody else have anything else? Anything that they would like to discuss prior to calling one more time for public comment? Prior to adjournment? Hearing none, anyone in the audience would now like to address the water board? You'll have up to 3 minutes. We would ask that you identify yourself, and the clock will begin to run when you begin speaking. Is there anyone interested in offering comment or input to the Osceola Township Water Board at this time? Anyone? Hearing none, we'll close the public comment portion, the second one. Ms. Wolf, please note the time. A motion to adjourn is in order.
I'll motion.
A motion to adjourn by Ms. Wolf, is there support?
Support.
Support by Mr. Janke. All in favor of the motion to adjourn, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries, we stand adjourned. We will take a break of about 3 or 4 minutes before we convene the township board meeting.